All right. So, I have my phone here again, and I got a title. I got three bullet points that I'm gonna go over, and we'll see how this goes. Hopefully, it doesn't sound too choppy and it flows. I'm looking for it to flow. So, the title of this video is to how to overcome awkwardness. I don't think I really overcame it, but my hook. Now, if you made it this far, you could tell me if my hook is good or not. So my hook is in my childhood, I've always felt super awkward. I was ashamed of my race, ashamed of how I spoke, and and in some way, I found things in my life to validate those beliefs. That's my first bullet point. So I could tell you, I grew up in the suburbs in the 90s in the 90s. So for me, I was the only black kid in my cul-de-sac. Um, when I was in school, elementary school, middle school, high school, um, I could count like the black kids in my classroom type stuff. So it's kind of like a limiting belief, but like it used to really make me feel uncomfortable. Just being in school and being in these spaces where I didn't have somebody to like, I guess not, I don't want to say physically relate to, but um, it's just growing up, I just didn't relate to people that much because I number one, like when you're a kid, is I think you want to see people like you. Like if like I didn't get my first black teacher slash professor until my early 20s. So all the teachers that are trying to steer me in the right direction don't look like me, and most of them were women too. So you're not a man on top of that. So there's certain things that I might be experiencing or going through that you're really not helping me on. I want to make sure the camera is tracking me because I don't need any accidents going on in the background. But yeah, and then the way that I spoke, with going through elementary school, definitely more elementary school than middle school, but I had a lot of speech classes. And, now being 34, or if I'll say 34, 35 years old, I just turned 35, June 11th, just turned 35. But having a lot of speech classes helped me get this tone that I have today. And being, young, I didn't know how to accept it because a lot of the black kids that were around me grew up in different environments and moved to, you know, where I was going to school at, and we didn't sound the same. We didn't have similar interests. And to be around somebody that looked like me but didn't really accept me, I didn't really know how to accept that. And that started the awkwardness. Instead of just being me or just learning how to accept who I was slash am, I believe that I created the awkwardness, within myself, of course, because nobody tells you at a young age to just love yourself first or be yourself. Like they more or less they try to tell you to fit in, and sometimes fitting in can be more damaging because if the people around you are doing bad things, doing negative things, and now you're trying to emulate or you're acting those things out, you're just building like a negative situation for yourself, which that's what I kind of did. I kind of took myself into the whole class clown role instead of just being myself, and trying to get the best out of my education. So that is the first bullet point. And let me just follow up by saying, in my life, I found ways to validate the belief. 100%. by me doing those things that I was just talking about, it furthered that belief. It made those feelings that I was feeling that I couldn't really express at the time just seem true. And in reality, it really wasn't true. So let me go to my second bullet point. It goes back into the whole validating beliefs. So getting older, I found clothes, video games, and music to help me mask my awkwardness. And of course, I think that comes with everybody. Like you find things that you're into. I remember when, I was like maybe in my early teenhoods that this girl was like trying to tell me like, oh, you're black, so you need to wear baggy clothes, you need to wear Nikes, you need to wear Jordans. I know my dad would always get upset that I wouldn't wear Jordans. I hated Jordans growing up. I never really wore them. I always liked skater clothes for some reason. So I was always wearing like this brand called Spitfire. I was wearing Vans. I wore Vans before Vans were cool. I always thought Vans were cool. And but yeah, once I met that girl, uh I changed. I was wearing like white tees, some baggy white tees. Maybe that came with the culture because going into music, right? Like that's when I started really listening to hip hop. Because before that, I was listening to like alternative rock, like Linkin Park and things in that nature. But I think they crossed over. So, now you could probably ask some people in their 30s, like, do they listen to Linkin Park? And they would like, probably say, yeah, when I was in middle school. So I think they crossed over. But things like that, that's kind of what helped me get out of that awkwardness. Because then I started to find people that we shared interests, common interests, so that could have been the music, could have been the fashion, and of course, uh, shameless plug, I have a video game channel. Video games really helped me find my audience, in real life, not on social media. Uh, as a child, playing games, not only did that like bring family members in, like my younger family members, like they would come over to my house and play wrestling with me, which I got into wrestling. Now thinking about it, like I never was really big into sports, but playing the video games got me into sports. Like one of the games I can think of off the top of my head was FIFA. I could tell you before playing FIFA, I never watched a soccer game on TV, but playing FIFA and understanding how to play it got me into watching it on TV. And one day I would like to go to a game just to experience it because uh, the audience, the energy, that's just something to experience. Seeing it on TV, I guarantee you will be nowhere near the same as witnessing it live. But I believe that could help if you're um, I don't think there's anybody like me. I don't think so. Like, but if for some reason that there's somebody that's watching this video and they can relate, I think you could find some type of hobbies. Like I said, it could be clothes, games, music, something that can break the ice, because that's what happened for me, breaking that ice, trying to get out of that awkwardness. So let me move on to another point, and it's my last point, and it's very short, and it says, at the end of the day, find your tribe. And it goes back into what I just said about those hobbies, finding your tribe could just easily kill all that awkwardness, and you gain all the confidence in the world to be who you are in any room you walk in. Um, in saying that, it makes me think of this quote that Kanye said about Jay-Z, and he summed it up by saying, like, Jay-Z can walk in a room full of vultures, and I don't think Kanye at the time didn't have that confidence in himself like the way he does now, even though I don't want to drift too far into that, but yeah, like I think if you can have your tribe early, if you can develop that self-confidence, that self-love for yourself early, then you'll understand that your gifts and your uniqueness can help you in spaces, especially as you get older. It's like people don't really talk about it, but I think when you're a kid, like kids can be really cruel, and you shouldn't like really die on that hill of oh like Susie said this when I was, Susie said I was ugly when I was 10, so now here you are, 20, and you still think that what Susie says is right, like you gotta grow into who you are, grow into yourself. So really, really, really pay attention to that. Find your tribe, and I believe that can help you overall overcome that awkwardness. Um, if you found this video like entertaining, or if you found the video to help you, or if you want to add more, um, more than welcome. Leave your comments below. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.